world is being torn asunder, and the worst is yet to come.
So Divinity Original Sin 2 is a very systemic isometric RPG with turn-based combat, where you and a party of up to 4 players, you play source wielders, sorcerers in the game. You need to use all of your skills and abilities to basically save the world from the gods that have abandoned it. The interesting thing about this game is, although it's cooperative, only one of you will have the chance in the end to become the new god. So even if you're playing cooperatively, at some point you'll have to make a choice in your party of which of you will become the new god and save the world. So the Definitive Edition came because we looked at the review scores. So we're very proud of our 93 Metacritic rating and all of the awards that we won. But we figured, you know, it could be better. We're very blessed with the fact that the game sells over a long period of time. We want to make sure that anything that we're not happy with and the players weren't happy with, we've ironed out. We started to look at all of the issues and all of the things that we think could be polished out. And we came up with this 45-page document of changes that mean a lot to the existing players and will mean a huge amount to the new players that haven't played it. So for the new players, for example, we have a new journal system, which allows you to better keep track of your quests, all of the items that you have in your inventory to see what they're for and where you have to go. So it's not a game that holds your hand, but it is a game that gives you all the tools necessary to solve quests in the ways that you think are interesting or fun. So one of the other changes we have as well is the whole third act of the game, which is about 30 to 40 hours of content, has been completely remade, rescripted, and rewritten as well. So there's going to be a lot of content that's there for existing players, but also a lot of improvements and content there that will be enjoyed by the new players. On PC, anyone that owns DOS 2 will get all of these changes for free on PC. If you're playing on Steam, you'll launch the game on a new app ID. Unfortunately, the saves won't be compatible between DOS 2 and the Definitive Edition, and the reason for that is that there are simply too many changes in the game to make that possible. But we'll always allow you to launch the classic version of the game. So that will be rebranded to the classic version, and you'll have a new launcher from which you'll be able to select if you want to play Definitive Edition or the classic version of the game.
You were my home once.
So one of the things that makes our game unique is that each of the 6 races you have, human, dwarf, elf, undead, or lizard men, have racial traits that really define the experience in many different ways in and out of combat. So I'll give you an example. If I'm playing as Fane, Fane is an undead, which means that if he walks around the world with his face uncovered, he'll be attacked on sight because he's an undead. It's disgusting. People are afraid of him. So you'll be able to first cowl yourself with a hood, for example, or use the Mask of Changes in order to emulate other characters and become other different races in the game to remain undetected. Other cool things about Fane, for example, is that because you're an undead, you'll have a racial ability which allows you in combat to play dead because you're a skeleton. You can also carve your finger into a key and unlock doors. Things that are very specific to this race. So a couple of other examples: if you're playing a lizard, you can dig up holes in the ground with your claws. If you're playing an elf, you can eat the remains of dead people in the world and get their distant memories. And each character will also unlock dialogue options and give you a completely different journey. So each of the origin characters in these different races have their own story within that overarching story. And if you're making your own character, for example, you can ascribe tags which give you the similar kind of experience that's different to everyone else. So no one person will have the same playthrough.
You were overrun by these elves, dwarves, humans. They meddled with a power they didn't understand.
So another cool thing about Divinity Original Sin 2, which exists in the Definitive Edition, of course, is the sheer amount of ways you have to solve quests. So one very simple example is that if you have a quest and you're not sure what to do, you can kill the quest giver. There you go, quest solved. Other ways you can do it: if you're looking for a key or a way to disarm a trap, you can use your combat skills to burn down the door. You don't need the key anymore. Or you can use a glove that you found from a guy who's trying to split your party to teleport your way across with an ability you wouldn't have if you didn't explore the world and look for these kinds of things. So it's really important in our game that we reward exploration. Every character you talk to, every character you kill is important in the game, and you'll be rewarded in some way, positively or negatively, for the exploration and the dialogues that you have with characters in the game.
Ride like the wind, my clacking friend!
So Divinity Original Sin 2 is already available on the Xbox One game preview program. You can download the first 3 hours for free. If you pre-order now, you can play the entire Act 1, which is about 20 hours of content, and then we'll be launching the full game on Xbox One and PS4 this August, and I hope you have fun.